Hey YouTube, what's going on guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today what we're going to do on this video is, as you may see in the thumbnails, we're going to take the 467.7 off and we're going to swap it for the 468. So I got the 468 over here laying on the table. What I'm going to try to do is exactly just take this turbo and put it in the truck, but I'm going to see if my housing, the one I already have powder coated, fits over here. I know this says this is a 468 impeller and that one is a 467.7, but we're gonna see if it matches up. If not, we'll just see if the intake tube off of here actually will fit around that one. So we'll start there and go from there. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoy the video. As you guys can see, this is a little different opening for this turbo than it is for the one I'm going to throw in here. You guys just saw how freely she spins, so hopefully this will be a simple process, but everything in here is a little dirty due to the simple fact that you just can't see that crap when all that stuff's on. So we're going to try to get this all taken care of. All you're going to do is pretty much remove, I'm going to take this apart in sections. So I'm going to remove this bolt here, this one here for the hot pipe. And then I'll pull the center section out once I get the oil lines off. And then I'm gonna have to let it cool down a little bit longer. And I'm gonna take the blanket off and the turbine section. So slowly but surely we'll get there. You got Tucker over there watching the hood. So, but yeah, here's the intake tube took off. Let's see if this joker fits. Oh, here's the tube itself, but we're gonna see if it fits on here. And that is a negative. So honestly, this is my first time trying it. Doesn't look like it's gonna work. So hopefully the cover, we'll just pull the cover off now and see if she fits on there and then go from there. All right, so we got this taken off, the cover. This cover, so I measured off camera, this is a 5.5 inch cover. This is only a 5-inch intake. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take off this bolt here, the race cover itself, or the compressor cover. This is an 11 millimeter or a 7/16 bolt. I'm just gonna loosen this like I did on the truck, pull this off and see if I can slide this over it. But we'll see how that works out. Well, boys, we're in luck. It fits. There's no rubbing or anything like that. The cover's still hot, but as you can see, she's on there. No issues. So now I can pretty much assemble this back together. Looking back at this now, I wouldn't even be able to use this cover itself because of the 90-degree elbow here. This is for a boot. This is for a V-band. So it's kind of a good thing, I guess, that worked. But I'm going to measure the actual compressor on this itself with a micrometer just to make sure, to see what our actual millimeter measurement is of this compressor. All right, so here's our measurement of this compressor. The compressor that's on the truck is a 67.7. It's at 67.2 millimeters. So a little bit bigger, but it's a 5-blade, so we're gonna give her a shot. All right, guys, so coming into the garage here, I did this off camera. I got this turbine blanket off. These are a pain in the butt because I put these springs on here to help hold it around the actual turbine section, but I couldn't get to that back one real well, so I had to kind of just finagle my way out. I got that. In the time being, I pulled that out, come over here looking in the truck, and I noticed that I had some hardware lodged between my transmission and my actual block itself. Let me see if I can zoom you guys in. It's not gonna catch it, but well, anyway, I ended up finding an Allen head screw or bolt and figured out that it goes to my fleece coolant bypass here. So I need to screw that back in, and then what we'll do is, I already loosened the line here for the oil feed. I'm gonna pull that out, and I'm just gonna pull the drain that goes down to the block. If you guys can see it right in there, I'm just gonna yank it out, and then I'll just undo this part and pull the center section off. I'll just pull the center section off here, and then pull the turbine off, unbolt the clamp back here that holds it to the downpipe, and then just reverse order and get her started back up. Guys, that part's out. I want to show you guys the turbo itself. It looks like we're starting a little leak down here. So I haven't even done anything to this drain line, but look, it's already coming off. So we were starting to develop a leak down there, and I guess it's a good thing that I ended up getting this turbo, so I can address this. We're gonna put all this stuff on the new one and kind of go from there. So big takeaways from this turbo, the old turbo we're going to do is we're going to pull this block off. We're going to pull the oil fitting here off. Probably going to put some new Teflon tape. I've never had a leak out of there, knock on wood. But we're going to pull that out, put it all on the new turbo, and throw her back in. Alright guys, so now we're at the point where we need to remove the turbine housing. I just need to remove those 4 17mm bolts with all the washers. I already broke them loose. There's one, and I got to get the lock washer and the regular washer out. I thought about leaving it in for a brief second. I called Stainless Diesel. They said it's probably not a good idea for the simple fact that it already has a fast, what do they call it, shaft speed with the 1.0 housing, so the 0.9 might not be a great idea. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this joker off. I don't know if you guys can tell on some of the video, but it's freaking hot still. I probably parked it about an hour ago, and yeah, it's still a little warm, so we're dealing with that. And one other thing, you see my Steed Speed manifold, it's starting to get a little corrosion on there. This is just the factory coating that it comes with, so maybe sometime in the future I'll take it off or buy another one and get it coated right. But yeah, not too impressed with the coating that's on them. I understand it's an exhaust manifold, but still, yeah, it is what it is. So we'll keep going with this, get these 4 bolts off, take off this 11mm exhaust clamp, and then reverse the process and start putting her back together. All right guys, as you can see, kind of hard to tell the difference, but that is the new turbine housing. Got that on. Still need to tighten down the 17mm bolts. I got the V-band on there. That thing was a pain in the butt to get off, but once I broke one part of it loose, the rest of it came off fairly simple. But yeah, she's in there. Just need to cinch her down, and then I'm gonna put the center section in. I'm gonna pre-lube the turbo. So what I mean by that is I'm just gonna leave the oil feed line off. I'm gonna take a turkey baster and put some oil in there and spin the compressor wheel and make sure she gets some oil in there so it's not a dry start. And she should be good. As planned so far. It's just hot. I'm baking in the sun, as you guys can see, and my old house over there, I probably would have been in the shade at this point, but it is what it is. So hopefully we'll get this back together and here fairly quickly, and we'll get it started, and I'll take you guys on a test drive. All right, so we're back in the garage. I got the old turbine housing just so I can set this in there, but I got the oil drain line on. Sorry if you guys hear Tucker. He's just panting for no reason. He won't go inside because it's hot, because he wants to be out here by me. But anyway, got the oil drain off of the old, oil feed off of the old one. Everything is up here. I may get some different lines. These ones they don't look as nice or as good quality as the fleece lines. So here's the oil feed fitting. I'm just going to put that in later. But yeah, everything is done. Cinch down those bolts, put the center section in, and pre-lube it and put the cover back on and get her done. All right guys, here's where we're at. Got the center section back in. I didn't film it for the simple fact that I have limited hands. It's hot as hell. I'm getting a little frustrated. So decided to put that in, didn't film it. It was simple. It's just, you know, aligning that clamp, the V-band clamp up and getting the actual center section centered. The next step is to pre-lube the center section. I got the drain tube back in. That's already going back into the block, so no issues there. I dropped a nut down my hot side intercooler piping, so hence why I'm a little frustrated. It decided to go all the way down through my hot side piping down to my intercooler and into my intercooler. So I had to take apart all that hot side tubing, which I wasn't planning on doing, just for the simple fact that I could line it back up and be done with it. But now I gotta mess with boots and all that other crap, so I'm not very happy. But yeah, that's where we're at right now. I'm gonna pre-lube the turbo now, and I'll take you guys out there. I'm freaking sweating my butt off. It's not even really hot. It's like 85 degrees and it's like 80% humidity, but just leaning over this truck, the black paint baking you as you do it. But here's our center section. I'll jump up there real quick and show you guys that there's no play in this. You don't hear anything. So once I get some oil in there, that bad boy should even spin more free. And yeah, got the V-band clamp on. Still got to put my turbine blanket on, and should be about done. So there's my hot side intercooler piping. There's more of it right there, and it connects to the intercooler. So not in the best mood at the moment, but it is what it is. This happens. I knew we were going to hit a hiccup somewhere, and it just happened to be there. So, oh yeah, one thing I want to show you guys about your hot section is, see how my oil feed is directly on top and my oil drain is directly on bottom? Make sure it's like that. You should always have your oil feed at the 12 o'clock position. That way the oil goes straight through and it's not like at an angle, and it can drain out, you know, straight down with the oil drain. So yeah, that's that. It's done, and on to the next step. All right guys, here's what I'm using. I'm just going to use some of my wife's oil that I put in her car. It's 5W40 European motor oil. Here's my turkey baster. I'm just going to suck it out of this cup and put it in the turbo. It should not take much. It should only take a little bit, and then it'll kind of just sit at this top. Let it sit for a little bit, and you know, as you're putting it in, make sure you're turning the compressor wheel. That way it's, you know, getting through all the bearings and everything. So I'm going to do that real quick, and then we'll throw the oil feed on, turbine blanket, cover, and be done with it. All right, so we got everything tightened back up. For the main part, I just want to put the cover on. That way we could see just the blades get protected themselves. But put everything back on. There's still some sensors that are not hooked up, but start it up real quick, just make sure we got no leaks, no issues, and then we'll put everything else back together. Everything looks to be good. No oil leak from the oil feed. No oil from the fitting there. All that a success. Well, she's all put back together. Tucker, he supervised. But yeah, she's all back now. Hardest part was getting that dang V-band down there on the hot side lined up with that O-ring. I think I smashed the O-ring before, but I don't have a spare one, so I threw her back together. Probably not the greatest seal, but she's good and she's still free spinning. So got all this stuff lined back up, put the intake tube back on, and take her for a little rip. So I got about 10 miles on this turbo. I just taking it for a little test drive, just not really getting in it too much, but just kind of getting a feel for it. I know it's not much bigger, but the 1.0 housing does make a little bit of difference. When I say a little bit of difference, it's a little bit more laggy, which is kind of be expected. It's not going to be as quick spooling as a 0.90 housing. So far so good. I'm not having any issues. I have my screen up to check oil pressure, God forbid, you know, one of those lines slips off or whatever, but I don't smell any oil. I'm sure you guys can hear the turbo in the background. As you've seen previously, like you can hear the turbo, the 467 in the cab. So you can kind of compare the two. I haven't really romped on it yet. I'm gonna probably wait to get up here a little bit. I have not went over about 17 PSI on boost. Still trying to let it, you know, get the oil through there and kind of let it seat a little bit. So want to get that done and then go from there. Well guys, she's smoking a little bit. I don't see any oil or anything like that, so I'm just thinking it might be the turbine blanket getting set in there. But I don't see any major oil leaks or anything, so that's always promising. And we're just kind of keep an eye on it. But she runs good, have no issues. As you guys can tell, I showed you a last clip. What I noticed is when you're in about the 1500 to 2000 RPM band, that when you get on it, the boost comes in quick. So I think that's what the 468s are designed for. So that's what I've been told. I am no expert by any means on these turbos. I'm still kind of learning as you guys are. I am on stock fuel. However, I think I'm going to be getting some injectors probably this winter time. So keep an eye out for that. I'm thinking I'm going to do 100% over S&S injectors, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do a 10 mil CP3 or a 12 mil CP3. If you guys have any recommendations, give me some comments down below. I just want to give myself some room for growth. If I do a 12 mil, I know those can power those 100% overs no problem. But I'm trying to, I don't want to get like a 14 mil something outrageous, but I want to get something that gives me some room for growth. Yes, the transmission is still stock for the time being. The valve body's still there. I have thought about just doing a torque converter for the time being, but I'm kind of I just don't know where I'm at with that, and I don't know where I sit. My decision, or think what I want to do for this truck, is if I'm going to do any kind of transmission, I want to buy once, cry once. So I've been talking to my buddy Cam over at Everything Diesel, and I kind of ran the idea by him multiple times. He's like, just stay with a 68. That's what you'll be good with that. But with a 68, we all know how reliable those are. They're getting better, but at the same time, 48 swap is kind of where my mind has always been. It is outrageously priced, don't get me wrong. I am not discounting that, but if you do a 48 swap, it's proven, they know they hold power, hence that Black Dodge dually right there. But they're cheaper to rebuild, and you know, if God forbid anything does go wrong with it, like I said, they're a little bit cheaper to rebuild. I just don't know if I trust the 68 long term. So far so good on my truck, but I don't beat on it. I would like to have the opportunity to, you know, just get on it and not have to really worry too much. You know, with a 48, I would feel comfortable, you know, say doing a burnout or something. That's not what I do, but that's kind of what I'm trying to relate to, I guess you could say. But yeah, the truck's running great so far. I will give you guys an update sooner than later on how things are going once I get some miles on it. But yeah, she's done. I'm done. I'm freaking tired. I'm exhausted. Sweated my butt off in the sun, being this house is facing the west, so the sun is right over there somewhere, and it's just beating down on us. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this content. I just wanted to bring you guys some a quick upload with this 68 swap. So yes, it's a 468 0.8310 housing, and my old turbo was a 467.7 0.83.90 housing. So I could tell it's not as responsive as a 467. That's expected with the bigger housing and getting more airflow in there, or excuse me, exhaust in there to turn it. But I just don't want to put myself in a bad situation. I think it'd be perfect to put the 9.0 on the 468, but at the same time, I don't want to overspeed the turbo, hence destroy the turbo. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, if you haven't been here before, please like, comment, and subscribe. And please let me some comments down below. Let me know what you guys think. Transmission thoughts. Let me know what you guys think on the fuel thoughts. Let me know what you guys think about this 468. Should I keep it? Should I go back to the 467? I don't know. So once again, appreciate each and every single one of you guys. Thanks for watching. Until then, we'll see you guys on the next upload. Have a good one.